and then started looking around and scraping it off. And then I think once he realized it was really big, he was like, maybe I should call somebody.
Yeah.
Call somebody who knows how to dig.
The whole like 5% excavation thing is so puzzling at Göbekli Tepe because, I mean, to be clear, that's kind of that's like normal practice, I think, for archaeology. But you would think that Göbekli Tepe is like a bit more of it's a special case. It has
that's
such
not
implications.
normal. But it's also, they make a lot of money off of tourism,
That's
people
the thing,
visiting it the way it is, and that would disrupt everything if you had a bunch of eggheads digging into the ground all around you. I see that, but then they started doing weird stuff like planting olive trees above the ruins, and everyone was telling them like, hey guys, if you do that, these trees are going to grow roots. The roots are going to destroy what's underneath them.
Yeah,
and they're like, no, everything's going to be fine. And then they realize, oh, it's actually destroying what's underneath it.
That's like a microcosm of the problem with a small section of very vocal kind of mainstream archaeologists. I think the whole tree controversy regarding Göbekli Tepe is because it was Jimmy, right? Jimmy Bright Insight.
Corsetti.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He
can't go there anymore,
I'm not surprised.
He might have snuck in recently.
He did a video, he did a video.
But I think he's banned from the country.
From the whole of Turkey.
I think he's banned from the site at the very least.
But it doesn't make sense because
they're mad at him for telling the truth.
Exactly. Whatever you think of Jimmy, like he was
wrong.
right.
Let's find out if he's banned. I don't want to get Turkey mad at me, because I think Turkey's probably the birthplace of civilization.
Awesome.
Of what we think of as civilization. I mean, there's so many different things that they found in Turkey now that start leading people to think that, like, well, maybe that spot, maybe we've, there was probably a bunch of places like that in the Middle East where civilization had sort of emerged from whatever had happened before.
Or the Sahara.
Yeah. What do you think about the Richat? Let's get to that in a second here. Oh yeah, Turkey should have banned me when they had a chance. If my Jimmy's so crazy. If my prior work on Göbekli Tepe upset them, what I will share in the coming days, weeks is going to take things to another level. But because we were cunning around various security protocols and aided with exceptional timing, we got the footage. Our ancient history belongs to humanity. I agree. Anyone that opposes that has no place controlling our lost history. Good for you, Jimmy.
Yeah, I mean, whatever you think about him, he was right about the trees. And the fact that they had these people kind of coming out defending the trees and saying the trees were good for archaeological sites, just...
Yeah, I don't know what Jimmy has a degree in, if anything, but he clearly knows a lot about ancient history, and he's really interested in it. And this gatekeeping. Like, if you watch his videos, and he constantly gets smeared with all sorts of different horrible claims that he's this and he's that. And he's like, if you watch his videos, that's not true. He's just a guy who is very fascinated and deeply informed on a lot of the timelines of all these different things and how interesting they are. And he likes to make videos of them, and that's a good thing.
Why shouldn't he be allowed to speculate? He's just a guy speculating.
And he's really fair and balanced with how he talks about things.
And he's good at it, man. He puts together arguments really well. And you just mentioned the Richat Structure thing. I've watched his videos on that, and like, it's interesting, man, the way he kind of connects what Plato was saying about Atlantis and brings it all to the Richat. It's interesting stuff.
It's very interesting because it's also, he talks about how Plato would talk about the mountains to the north and the river to the south. It's like, this all lines up.
Concentric rings.
This concentric rings in the same size as was described as Atlantic.
And the Tamanrasset river system used to run straight through, so it was surrounded by water, so it could have been...
How come everybody's like, nah?
Well, it's because you can't prove it, isn't it?
Well, it's a little bit of that, but it's also because this YouTube guy's the one talking about it. And that's... If they admit that he was right, that would drive them fucking crazy.
They had to with the trees.
Yeah.
They had to move them.
Yeah.
Which is funny.
Sorry. But I think he's right about Atlantis, too. I think he might be right. There's something about that that's weird. It's also weird if you look at it from a satellite perspective. The satellite imagery where you get to see where it all looks like it's been washed over by water.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing looks exactly like sand looks when the tide comes in and then pulls back.
Yeah.
It's all rippled, and it looks like it was pummeled by water.
Yeah,
and
match the sinking into the sea in a single day and night.
Exactly. And also, like, how many stories from ancient history depict floods? There's so many of them. Like, are we going to ignore all of them as myth?
Well, the idea that myth doesn't hold any kind of use in understanding the past is just ridiculous, because the myth is powerful because it's the thing we've collectively remembered as a species, isn't it? So
yes.
Why would we dismiss that as a kind of, historical record? And then you've got examples of like indigenous cultures that remember kind of scientific information through myth. Like, I always go to this example of these kind of islanders during the tsunami in 2004, and they went to it was the Andaman Islands, and the kind of Western scientists or whatever went to the island after the Boxing Day tsunami, and they were like, oh, everyone's going to be dead, like they're all going to have been wiped out by this tsunami. And they were fine because they had this myth in their culture that when the sea recedes, you get to high ground, because then the waves are going to come that will eat men. Yeah. And that myth, that has encoded scientific information regarding tsunamis, and that saved their culture's lives. And they had like no casualties compared to, Western or modern people who were
Isn't that
devastated.
Crazy? Everybody else was like, wow, look at all the sand.
Yeah, and they were like, woo.
I thought the beach was over here.
Yeah, and then they all got fucking killed. And then these people with their myths, scientific information, survived.
There's a guy who was hiking in Russia when the most recent tsunami hit, and he was on a cliff, and you see the ocean come in and like reach the top of the cliff where his dog is. See if you can find it. It's crazy because he films the thing coming in. Like, this guy is way above the ocean when it starts. And then the water is reaching where he is with his dog.
It's just further testament to the power of nature. We just constantly underestimate nature. And
that was just a little wiggle in the ocean. Mm-hmm. That's just a little wiggle. Just a little earthquake. Little 8-pointer.
And then you think about some of the shit that's gone on during our time on Earth.
Comet impacts and like, watch this. So look how high this guy is, right?
It's way up.
Way up, right? And so as he's up here, he's seeing the waves come in. Now, he must have known that this was going to happen because everybody knew this was going to happen. So watch how it's coming in now. And now it keeps coming. It keeps coming all the way to the top where he is. It's nuts. Look at his dog.
Oh, shit.
His dog's like, yo. I would be freaking out. I would be running.
Yeah, I'd be out there, mate.
I wouldn't trust it. What if it goes over the top where you're at? You're just guessing. Bro, look how high this water gets.
That's terrifying. Yeah, he's out of there now.
Look at that. The dog's about to get jacked. I mean, if you get trapped in that, like, the bitch, you are not swimming to shore. That's your life. It's over. I don't care if you're Laird Hamilton. Well, he might swim through that. But isn't that nuts?
Yeah, you're fucked.
That water got all the way to the top of that hill.
Yeah,
so, and that is like, doesn't even register in the news.
Yeah, that's just a thing that happens all the time.
That's a thing that happens. It's like a thing. Like, no big deal. No one will remember that in 5 years. No one will remember that in 10 years. But if a fucking comet slams into the ocean right there, or slams into a glacier, a comet the size of, a few city blocks, that's a wrap.
Yeah.
That's a wrap. You have massive flooding, like instantaneous millions of gallons of water tearing through the landscape. No more ice cap. It's all gone.
Yeah, and just any kind of culture that was possibly around is just completely wiped clean from the earth.
Yeah,
no record, nothing.
You're Dunsville. There's nothing left. And that's real. This isn't speculation. Like that, we look at the Tunguska impact, and that was the same sort of comet storm that we passed through.
Yeah.
At the same time of year, and it flattened like this enormous chunk of Siberia that still doesn't have trees on it.
Yeah, and that's quite a small thing.
Yeah, and it didn't even hit his air impact. Yeah. So,
and if that happened over a city, that's like millions dead.
Millions. So that could be happening on this planet on a regular basis.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of facts that we get hit by stuff.
Yeah, we're always finding a crater. We're like, oh, this one's 3 million years old. Look at this fucking crater. Yeah. 3 million years ago, everyone's fucked.
But if that estimate is correct, that we're hit by a cataclysmic impact once every 100,000 years, then I mean, what does that mean?
Well, that's where it gets really weird if you're talking about like an advanced civilization, like millions of years ago. Like, imagine if there was some sort of advanced life form millions of years ago, and then something like that hits.
Have you seen that wheel that's like 300 million years old? Or it's like a preserve. It looks just like a wheel. Have you seen
What is that?
Jamie, could you please search 300 million year old wheel? It will probably
Are you on
up.
TikTok a lot? Like, where are you getting this one?
I've just seen it about, and like, it
Really?
looks like a wheel. It doesn't mean it is a wheel, but it looks remarkably.
Well, there's
like
some
a
of the
wheel.
stuff from.
Yeah, that's the thing. It just kind of looks like a wheel, and they found it in a mine, and then they flooded the mine, which is a bit weird. But there's a couple better images of it. I don't know if they'll be on this page, but yeah, there you go. That looks like spokes and a wheel, and I mean, it could be natural, but I mean, what the fuck is that? You know?
That looks really weird. Now, what are these fossilized tracks?
Yeah, these are also super old. They're called cart ruts.
Again, found in Turkey,
Yeah.
right? Including Sofka, where they, like how I said that, where they cover an area approximately 45 by 10 miles. And how do you say that one? There's a lot of words today we don't know how to say. Cappadocia, home to several clusters of tracks. The discovery of these ruts around the world has sparked debate regarding their purpose, age, and origins in Malta, especially due to the proximity of the tracks to megalithic structures and the fact that some are now submerged beneath the sea.
Yeah, I've seen some of them in Malta. I went to Malta, and they go off cliffs.
Many researchers suggest these fossilized lines indicate significant antiquity. So if this was like mud that they were pulling these things through, or dirt that they were pulling these things through, and then it eventually fossilized into tracks, like what else would be the explanation for something that looks exactly like tracks? Is there a natural explanation for